Welcome to We Are Listening's vlog on bullying. We Are Listening is a 501c3 nonprofit that mentors young ladies from 13 to 22, and I'm Cassandra, one of the directors. October is the start of many things: fall, Halloween, and Bullying Awareness Month. And as you can see, we are all rocking our orange bullying awareness t-shirts to commemorate. Bullying isn't a new phenomenon, but with technology, it has taken on many new forms. And throughout this vlog, we're going to touch on some of them and even talk about our own experiences with bullying. Di?
Hi, my name is Daisha, and I'm one of the mentors, and I sit on the board of directors at We Are Listening. Now, as far as, of course, it's Bullying Prevention Month, and there is pacer.org, which is a national bullying prevention center. And according to them, they say that 1 out of every 5 students, which is 20.2%, report being bullied. And then there's a slightly higher portion of female than of male that reported being bullied. So it's like 24 versus 17%. Now, of course, with bullying, it is intentionally hurting or harming another with words or behavior on purpose. You're really trying to hurt them. There are different types. There is physical, which you're hitting someone, kicking them. There's sexual. There's verbal, which is teasing someone, name calling, threats. There's emotional, trying to hurt them inside, make them feel bad, leaving them out on purpose, telling lies about them. And there's cyberbullying, which is text messaging, posting videos on social media, which is Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. It's just pretty much making fun of someone. So those are pretty much the main points of, well, the main ones of bullying.
My name is Antoinette, and I am the director and mentor here. We're listening. I'm going to kick off by sharing some of my own personal experiences. I've actually been on both ends of that coin, unfortunately. I remember when I was younger, I used to live in Puerto Rico, so I have Spanish background from my mother's side, and when I moved from Puerto Rico back to the States, although I originally only knew how to speak English because I was immersed in that culture and all I spoke was Spanish, it's like Spanish became my first language. And so when I came back to the States to school, it was just, I got teased just because, I couldn't really speak English as well. I got teased for my hair, which, right now, having natural hair is all the rage, but it wasn't so popular back in the 80s. And it was difficult. It was hard because when you're being bullied over something that you can't control just because of the way you speak or the way you look or your hair texture, you can't control that. You didn't do anything. So that was really, it was for me. But fortunately, I have a strong enough personality and I'm really friendly and sociable that I was able to overcome it. But I will say that, unfortunately, when I got older, when I was in high school, I was on the other side of that. I remember specifically a situation where I was upset with a young lady who had spread some rumors about me. Not that that's an excuse, but because of that, we had a physical altercation. And, it got to a point where pretty much it should have been settled and done and over with, but I didn't stop myself. Like I took it too far and I knew that I was taking it too far, but I was allowing like the crowd and the people around who were like hyping me up. I don't know, it's almost like this weird, bad sense of strange power that I felt, it was sick. And it took one of my friends to stop me. She was just like, "What are you doing? Like, are you kidding me? One, this isn't you. And two, why would you do this? They would be laughing at you if the shoe was on the other foot." And I'm so grateful for my friend because I lost myself in that moment. So her name was Erasmus. So I'm very grateful for Erasmus for stopping me in that moment. And I also wish to this day that I remember the girl's name was Seth. And, you know, Seth, if by some chance you're watching this, I'm sorry. Like, I wanted to apologize to you for ever for what I did. I was going through a lot myself. I was hurting. And there's a saying about people people hurt people. And it's so true. A lot of times the person that is bullying, you know, there's something else going on with them behind the scenes. It's not an excuse, but we need to start trying to explore ways to minimize the hurt that bullies are causing, as well as finding out where the nature of that hurt is coming from the bullier, in order to try to address the situation. Vinay, what do you think about that?
Well, hello, my name is Vinay. I'm the founder and president of We Are Listening. And thanks for everybody for tuning in. We're talking about a more serious conversation today, but one that always needs to be touched on. And I think October is perfect for National Bullying Awareness Month, because it's right off the kickoff of school. You know, a lot of kids are going back to school. Unfortunately, in these unprecedented times, a lot of kids are doing school from home. However, bullying, as Daisha mentioned, does not only happen in person, but it's also cyberbullying. That's a huge problem today because of the internet. I just want to say first and foremost, thank you, Erasma, for being a helpful bystander. A helpful bystander is a person who steps up to the plate when they see something going on, you know, bullying happening, and they know that it's going too far. They know it's not the right thing to do, and they step up and they step in and they stop it. We're going to go into more detail about different things that you can do as a bystander. I just wanted to just make a clarification about bullying that I think people need to hear, which there's a difference between conflict and bullying. So there's, you know, naturally kids have disagreements, they have arguments. They're just like all human, you know, all of us grown people, everybody have disagreements and arguments. But the difference between just regular conflict and bullying is that with conflict, a person is empathetic and they know their boundaries. They know what line not to cross. They know that they can monitor and watch and see that they're going too far, and they know when to stop and pull it back. Bullying is doing the exact opposite, and that's when, you know, children take things too far, and it's a constant thing that even if it's a one-day incident, like Antoinette had that experience, it wasn't something that she was doing ongoing, but it happened that day, but it was too much. It crossed the line. And, you know, we want you to understand, of course, naturally, we're going to have disagreements and, you know, conflict with people. We're human. You know, it happens to all of us. But you have to know when a line is being crossed and how you are affecting the other person. That's empathy, putting yourself in another person's shoes. You have to be empathetic to people and know, you know, we're having a disagreement, but that's all that it is, and leave it there. So us discussing this today, there's bullying in all type of environments too. It's not just school. Of course, we want to focus on our young people because, you know, you have to deal with that in school, and you're young and you need to know how to manage and handle that. But there's bullying at work. There's bullying, you know, again, in school, and there's other different areas that you deal with bullying. So we want it also to be clear that bullying is not just a young person thing. It happens at all ages.
Yeah,
Anybody have any experiences with bullying at work or?
Yeah, actually.
Oh, we all have stories.
Yeah, we all have stories. Bullying doesn't stop when you reach a certain age. As Vinay said, you can have a bully at school, you can have a bully at work. I had a bully boss.
Oh, that's not easy. That's not easy.
It is not easy when you have a bully boss. I was like, first job out of grad school, you're not sure of yourself. So you allow a lot of what people say to kind of seep in. But my boss was known to be a bully, and so there was no one to step in for me, because everyone was like, oh, that's just how he is. So I had to kind of sometimes be there for myself. He would yell. He would speak to you in ways that were not professional. He would have me in tears. Like, I would go home and cry and be like, I don't want to go to work. I would call my mom, sit in the corner of my bed, and I'm like, I don't want to go to work today. Like, I can't do it. She's like, I know, you have to. And it's really hard when you're like, this is my job, my bread and butter. If I want to turn the lights on in my house, I have to go to work. Like, it's really, really difficult.
What did
Um,
you do? Like, did you just leave the job, or did you ever confront or have a conversation with him about it?
no, I never had a conversation. I never explained to him how he made me feel. Honestly, I didn't think that it would matter. He was not the type of person that would take criticism well and say, "Wow, I see what you're saying." It would have been a my problem, not a his problem.
Hmm.
Right.
So I ended up leaving the job, and every job I've had since then, my boss has been fantastic.
That's
That's good.
great.
He
That's
he to me was a lesson
Hmm.
of when I become a boss, who I don't want to be. I don't want to be him.
good. Yeah.
Yes.
And as hard as it was to go through at the time, I worked there for 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
Wow.
It's a long time.
it made me recognize bullying, and it made me a better HR person because I can go, not having that in my department. We're not
And
doing
Yes.
that's
that.
important, what you said about recognizing bullying, because I think, some of the older generation, when they think of bullying, they think of old school, somebody is taking your lunch money,
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
3 o'clock, we're going to beat you up, by the railroad tracks. But that's not what bullying is.
Mm-mm.
That's like the far end of it. But the
Yes.
emotional part of bullying, can leave scars
it
and can
can.
carry on with you for so long.
And
Like,
and to your point, Antoinette, about the older, some people saying, "Oh, well, that's just bullying's been around forever, and I went through it, and I'm fine."
it's a
You're
part of
fine,
growing
but
up.
Yeah.
everyone is different.
Those are some
Yeah.
of the
You might
myths
think
about it.
you're fine, but you're carrying around something in there based on what someone did to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
And
Yeah.
I had an experience. I didn't have any bullying experiences growing up because everybody was afraid of my sister. She was tough, so they didn't bother me. I was protected. But what I have experienced too, similar to Cass's, is like fresh out of high school, starting a new job, and it's unfortunate that people in power at that time, they feel like they can treat young people coming out of school, unfairly and bullying them. But I had the same situation happen to me with a boss at the time who was very disrespectful, cursed all the time, cursed around me. I was raised, cursing, not to curse. So for
yeah,
me, that was just an eye opener. He's always cursing, very disrespectful. And I took the route of, I was still living at home. So I was like, okay, I don't have to be in this environment. It's not like I have to, pay for a roof over my head. I'm home.
Right.
So I took the approach that I spoke to him, and in my own mind, I gave him a 3 strikes you're out. And so the first time he came around and he cursed around me and was being disrespectful, I went into his office and I closed the door. And I was young. I was very proud of myself because I had to actually push myself
Right.
to do it. It didn't come easy. I
yep.
had to actually sit and say, okay, Vinay, it's time for you to go handle this situation. And I had to actually be my own cheerleader and push myself to go do it. And I did it. I closed his door and I just told him that I feel it's very disrespectful that he's, speaking around me that way and cursing at me, cursing around me. And, he said it wasn't me directly. This is just how he responds, and for me not to take it personally. I said to myself, if he does this, I'm giving him 3 strikes. So second time it happened again because it was just him. That was who he was. So there was no controlling it. So he did it again. I closed his door again and I told him how it made me feel. I was very uncomfortable with it. Once again, he told me, you're being sensitive. Stop taking it personally.
Oh, that's that
I
gaslight.
I do this to everybody. You're the only one with the problem with it. Basically, put on your big girl panties and deal with it.
Right.
And so again, I said to myself, if he does this one more time, I'm out of here. And he did.
One more
He
again.
did it. Finally, he did it one more time. He couldn't control himself. He blew up on me, cursed me out in front of everybody. I typed my resignation was ready because I knew that he was going to
It
do
was
it
coming.
again.
It was coming.
So I went,
Wow.
all I did, I changed the date. I hit print,
Mm.
walked in his office, gave him a copy. I walked in HR, gave them a copy, and I left. I had my things packed already because I knew it was going to come again. It was going to happen. But what I actually ended up doing was a month or 2 later, I sent him a letter. I mailed him a letter.
Really?
And I told him how he made me feel. And I was very hurt by how he treated me, being new and working and things like that. And I sent him a letter. I never heard back from him. I hope that my letter was impactful and that, he listened to what I said. Who knows? But that was my experience with it. And like Cass said, ever since then, I've had amazing bosses. I think it's like a lesson learned. You realize how you know how you want to be treated. And once you're treated a certain type of way, you never want to ever feel that way again. So what I do, and Cass, we learned studying IO psychology, is that we interview our jobs. It's not a one-way street. We interview the person we're going to work with too, to see if we're compatible, to see if we have a good rapport.
Exactly. See if the culture of that organization fits your values, your morals. Like, do I want to work for an organization where I see people yelling at each other in front of me,
culture.
and like I'm being interviewed and they're yelling at each other back and forth. Like, I'm not sure if I want to work here.
Right.
Good tip. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
You have to check all of that out when you're interviewing.
I remember,
because bullying is not cool, no matter how old you are, who you are. We all deserve a modicum of respect.
Yes.
And you don't check your dignity at the door when you clock into work. You don't check it at the door when you're going into school. We are all human, and we all deserve to be treated as such.
Yes. And Di, did you have a story to share before we get back to bullying for young people?
Yeah. Yes, actually, mine is actually when I was younger, just a little story that I remembered. When I was in junior high school, and, you have friends, I think it was like 2 of them, and we used to always hang out together, and then things started changing. And I remember one of them, like she was doing different things, like she wasn't nice to me anymore. She was, I kind of remember she was saying nasty things. I had to think about it. And I was like, what happened? I thought we was all friends. But what I remember for me is that helped me. So I knew that everything was going to be okay because I had that friend that stepped up for me. And that's to say with bullying, it's important that someone helps you. They stand up for you. And also when that happens, the bullies will back down because someone else is standing up for you. So
yes. And Di, you were lucky.
I would think that 2 of the worst things about being bullied is, one, the isolation that you feel, especially if it's like, you feel isolated and you feel alone, and the humiliation that comes along with it, which is what makes how teenagers today have to deal with cyberbullying so different. It's something we as a generation never had to experience.
That's true.
If we got bullied at school, you went home, you were in your safe haven, that was it.
Right.
Now you have cell phones. So it's ongoing. The humiliation just continues. It's on Snapchat, it's on Twitter, it's on whatever. They're sharing it. They're recording it. It becomes viral. It just becomes this whole, it's you're being bullied over and over. Even if it was one incident, it's over and over and over again. And that has to be really traumatic. And I feel like a lot of people have become desensitized. Anytime you see something happening, instead of someone running to help, the bystanders coming to help, what do you see? You see this. Everyone has their cell phones out recording. And it's like, hello, did anyone call 911? Did anyone call a teacher? Did anybody call an ambulance? Whatever the case may be, everyone's so quick to record it. And it's like, that's really tough for kids these days. And if you're a student or if you're, someone that is experiencing that, we can't say to you, oh, I know what that feels like, because we absolutely do not. Yes. We absolutely do not. And if you're an adult that's watching this, you have to take that into consideration. These kids are in a whole nother era. They're facing that we never had to on a completely different level. So
they're a social media generation.
It's so important to have conversations like this and to let them know that bullying doesn't mean you're getting beat up or your lunch money is being stolen. It's any time that you're being violated emotionally, humiliated,
mentally,
on purpose, that itself is bullying, and it's not right. You don't deserve it.
Mm-mm.
You
No.
earn it. It's not you. It's that person or persons. And
Yes.
you need to try to come to someone. And if you don't come to someone, if you're a bystander and if you see it, you're almost just as guilty. If you're afraid of speaking up because you don't want to become the target of being bullied, I understand that, but say something to someone.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys remember, but during our workshop that we were doing, the young lady who mentioned that she kept a log of
Mhm.
videos, text messages, things of that nature, basically
Screenshot.
for defense if someone ever, posted something about her or revealed something personal about her. She had an archive of things that she could use against another
Oh,
person.
from that
Remember
workshop.
that one?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And that's very sad and unfortunate that you have to live that way, where you have to build up an arsenal of defense videos and text messages to protect yourself. So basically to bribe a person to say, hey, you release that on me, I'm going to release this on you. We just don't know what that feels like because we didn't grow up in that era where
No.
social media and internet and emails and pictures and things like that could be just forwarded along to people. We had room to be young people. We had room to be
We have
kids. We
room
had
to
room
make
for error.
mistakes.
Thank you. So we don't know, we know how you feel because we're adults and we can empathize and we know that this is horrible, but we've never personally experienced it ourselves as kids. So
The
you might,
magnitude now is it's amplified because
yes,
as Ant was saying, it's shared over. You get re-traumatized, re-bullied
Right.
over. Every time you think,
over,
okay, well that's
over.
it stopped being shared. Someone goes in digging in the crates and like, oh, that's that girl that this, that's that boy that
Yes.
this. Oh,
So
Yeah.
traumatic.
people have had to move schools. They've had to switch schools. They've had to switch it can really disrupt someone's life. And I really I want, if you are a person that is bullying, we're not here to judge you. We just want you to take a moment to think about how your actions influence and impact
Yeah.
someone else.
Mhm.
And as Aunt said, hurt people hurt people. So what is it in you that's hurting that you need someone to hear and you can get to
Right.
the bottom of? Because you don't want to be known as a bully.
Right.
And don't be that person that shares stuff that, don't share fights, don't share that sort of thing, because you think it's harmless. You might think, oh, I don't know how, but whether you just think it's interesting or funny, whatever reason, or you're just like shocked by it. And for that reason, you're wanting to show someone else. Don't do that because you're becoming part of the problem,
Right.
by doing something like that. I can think of plenty of memes that I've seen. I'm pretty sure, like there's a meme of this one girl where she does this face like this, and someone took a picture of her. That was probably a picture that she took, and someone took that one facial expression, and it has been circulated. And you and I might look at it and think it's funny because it's like, oh, that expression, like I get it, but you don't know that she
What was
wanted
behind it?
picture
Mhm.
behind. You don't know.
Right.
So try not to be so desensitized. This is the age of when we were growing up. We had actual scripted series and television
The after
programs.
school specials.
Reality, back to school specials. Now this is reality TV, but this is real world. These are real people behind the camera with real emotion. So we have to get back to acknowledging, and being kind to people and validating and recognizing when someone is hurt and trying to figure out a way how to just be kinder individuals.
And
I
this
think
is
being
footage
behind
that
the
can.
screen. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, and always be mindful that this is footage that could affect a person's life for the rest of their life. They could be running for governor. They could be running for mayor. They could be, running for presidency. And these old videos from when they were 12 and 13 and 14 can surface, and it could ruin a person's life. And you have to be mindful of that this is not something temporary. It's not something that's just one time. This is something that's going to be saved in people's phones. They're going to have access to it all the time. It's embarrassing, it's humiliating, and it can affect them for the rest of their lives. That's just something you have to be mindful about. And I was also going to touch on, we talked about toxic friendships last week, and we shared experiences with that. And sometimes you think a person is your friend, and you think that, or you think that a boy that you like innocently in school is somebody that really cares about you. And you go on to share something personal with them, whether it's a picture, whether it's a text, whether it's a video, whatever it is, and you trust that that person is going to keep that with them. And then finally one day you're betrayed, and they finally release that information. And they share it with people because you trusted them, or that toxic friend ultimately was jealous of you and wanted to destroy you. So they released something that you shared with them. And that happens all the time. It's almost like you cannot even trust people. You can't trust that, in anything with media, that you're going to share photo or video. You cannot trust that this is not going to be exposed. So you have to be very, very mindful and careful of what you share and who you trust.
But those people who share those things, it can also affect your life, because if you share something that someone sent to you, you can get in trouble.
You're a part of it.
You share something and you're applying to colleges, and colleges find out that you did X, Y, and Z, they can rescind your acceptance to their college.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you get a job offer, the job can say, oh, we don't want to be a part of this. We don't want you representing us because you share these kind of things. You are this kind of person.
Right.
So it might feel good in the moment to share it. It's funny and that's what they get, but it can come back on you. So think about that as well.
Yes.
It's not just a one-way street.
Right. And this is very, very serious, because we have young children committing suicide over bullying and over cyberbullying. This is not a joke. It's a very, very serious thing, and nobody should be subject to that type of treatment. The anxiety that a person feels because they're being bullied, the fear that something they did share is going to be released, and they have to live with that every single day. They can't concentrate on school. They can't concentrate on at home, anything like that, because they're afraid and they're worried every day that something that they shared and they wish they could take back may be exposed at any point, or has been exposed at some point. And, they get depressed, and it's just a very serious thing. You don't want to be part of that type of situation where you helped or was a part of somebody being depressed and committing suicide or something like that. It's not a joke, and it's something that you just do not want to do.
When you said that, it made me think of, I watched this documentaries on Netflix. I was trying to see if I could look up the name of it so I could say it properly, but I don't remember. But it had to do with like social media. And one of the statistics that they were talking about, they were saying that prior to like 2009, and I might be off by the year, forgive me. Prior to 2009, the rate of suicide or teenage girls being hospitalized between the ages of like 11 and 13 was at 1%, and after 2009 it went up like 150%.
Wow.
And they attribute it to social media, and that's an alarming number. Like that is telling you there's a direct correlation between what is online, what is being shared online, and how it affects our youth. I say all the time, I see celebrities all the time, and you see how they're in the limelight. And even though they're in the limelight, when something of theirs gets out there, they're like, I'm a person too, this and that. And that's someone that knows what they're, that they're out there. So imagine someone who is 12 years old and didn't ask for this. It's just, I don't know. We just have to be more mindful. It's a whole new era right now with this social media stuff.
Yes, and if you find yourself in a situation where you're being bullied, the biggest advice that we could share is to tell somebody. Tell as many people as you can. Tell your parents, tell the teacher, tell the principal, tell your friends. Don't just tell one person, tell as many people as you can, so that everybody can come together and try to help you.
Yeah.
That's the greatest advice we can give. Some people feel like, if they tell their parents, that their parents are going to tell them, stand up for yourself and, don't let anybody bully you. Or maybe your parent won't believe you, or you're afraid to tell your parent because your parent may take the situation into their own hands and go up to the school, and it may be a whole big thing.
That makes it worse.
Yes,
My daughter did that to me. I found out years later that somebody bullied her, and I was like, why you didn't? She was like, "Ma, because I knew you were going to go to that school. You was gonna... I was like, yeah. So if you don't feel comfortable telling your parent because your parent is like really overprotective, please tell somebody.
Tell somebody.
There has to be someone in your circle, a trusted adult that you can go to and say, listen, this is the situation. I don't know how to handle it, but I need someone to tell me, like, to give me some advice. I need someone to help. If you were failing math, you would find someone to help you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So and you don't deserve to be bullied. You don't deserve to live every day fearful and scared and, unprotected. So let as many people know as possible so that they can help you and they can stand up for you.
And chances are you're not the only person this person is bullying.
No.
Yes.
It is not a you thing. It is a them thing. You are not the only one.
And for our helpful bystanders, I want to give y'all a few tips too. I know this goes for me. It's not even a person who was even specifically bullied, but I'm friends with everybody. I accept differences. I don't judge people because they're different from me. I've had friends, all sorts and all types of friends. And if you see someone bullying another person, befriend that person. Be friends with that person. My daughter told me I always tell her that all the time. So if you see somebody being bullied, you be friends with that person because she is a leader. She has leadership qualities. And I said, you step up and you go be friends with that person. And she has done that. She has done that. She told me situations where she stepped up and she was friends with the person that everybody was talking about or bothering. But spend time with students who are being bullied. Try to get the student who is being bullied away from the situation. We don't want you to put yourself at risk and try to confront somebody who's bullying another person, but just try to get that person out of the situation. You be that person that tells and shares it with an adult or a teacher or principal or even your parent. Go home and tell your parent that somebody who's being bullied. What can we do? Listen to the student who's being bullied. A lot of times a person being bullied feels isolated. They need somebody to talk to. They need a friend. Step up, be that friend, be that person. And finally, tell the student, like we all know, that no one deserves to be bullied. They don't deserve to go through that. And, talk to them and listen. Any other advice, guys?
I would say that the main tip is just if you see something, say something. Right, Cass?
Cass's famous saying.
I'm about to get that tattooed on my forehead.
Yes, new tattoo.
If you see something, say something. Like, I know we've talked about this in other blogs, that Bené and I met in grad school, and people were talking about Bené. And like, oh, she thinks she's this and she thinks she's that. And I stepped in. I was like, how do you know? You don't know. Get to know her. So it's like, that's what. Step in. As long as you're not putting yourself in danger, step in. Question the people bullying you. Like, why are you doing that? You don't know her. You don't know them. What are you doing?
Right.
Because sometimes the bully sees something in someone else that they don't like about themselves.
Yes.
And
a lot of the bullying I feel has to do with the person.
It's a lot of self-reflection.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's a lot.
100%. And the other thing that I would add as far as the tip is www.wearelistening.org.
And we get a lot of our mentees that have been bullied.
Yeah, and our services are free. Our services are free. So if you need someone to speak to and you don't feel like you have someone in your circle that you can speak to, definitely go ahead and reach out to us. And if you're a parent or a friend of someone that send them our website. Get them to our website.
Please do.
We're on most social media, you know, so there is some positive stuff out there. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, even though I know a lot of the young kids don't say they
Do Facebook anymore?
We need a TikTok. I think that's the newest rave.
Girl, they're banning TikTok. They're banning TikTok, so good luck.
Yes.
But yeah, no, definitely reach out to us. Our services are free, and
Mhm.
if no one else can be there for you, we definitely would love an opportunity to be there for you.
Yes. And for all our parents that are watching, if you have a child or you know of another student who's being bullied, we want to just give some tips for you and how to help your children. The first one is to know the laws in your state regarding bullying and how you report it, how to collect data, things of that nature to support your claim of bullying for your child or someone you know. Keep a record. So keep a record of all the bullying incidents. Keep a record of all your communications with the school, who you spoke to, date, time. You have to build your records and your case to protect your children. Inform the school in writing. Also, you can contact, a lot of people don't know, but you could contact the civil rights office in your state to find out, you know, if you feel like the schools are not stepping up to the plate and handling the situation. This is your child and you have to protect your child. So you have to take it to the next level. And you can contact the civil rights office, and you can also file a complaint of discrimination with the Department of Justice. Another place to escalate if need be. And ultimately, and I think number one is to talk to your child about bullying, not while it's happening, but talk to your children about bullying when they start school, and continue to reinforce and revisit bullying with your child so that they are comfortable with talking to you and letting you know if something's happening to them.
I just want to add one last thing. There's an old saying, sticks and stones can hurt my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's bull.
That's a
Get
lie.
rid of that. That is
Myth.
a lie. Don't accuse kids of being overly sensitive. That stuff is deep. It penetrates deep. You know, a broken bone that can heal. You might see a scar, but it's good. Your finger's back to normal.
Yes.
You're penetrated within your heart, within your brain. Like that can take
It can really shape you. I really hate when people say, "Oh, this generation is so soft. Oh, we used to do it."
They're dealing with different things today.
We're not. This new generation is not soft. They're dealing with things that you couldn't even imagine.
Yes.
So
We
it's
understand.
Like, instead of accusing them of being soft, maybe sit down and say, "What's going on? Why are you feeling this way?
Yeah.
And how can I help you?"
Yes. So I just want to say thank you to pacer.org. We get a lot of our information and our resources through you, and information to share. And we are registered with pacer.org as an organization that's a champion against bullying. So we always recognize bullying every year in October. We know how serious it is, and we just want to say thank you to Pacer for being a big supporter of the prevention of bullying. We just want to say thank you to everybody for watching. If you have any questions or comments, you can go on our website, www.wearelistening.org. If you have any children or any young people between ages 13 to 22 that wants to be mentored, we're here. Just go on and somebody will get back to you. And we look forward to seeing you all in our next vlog.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Have a great day. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.